That which does not kill us makes us stronger. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. To live is to suffer, to survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. Without music, life would be a mistake. In individuals, insanity is rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule. And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. Whoever fights monsters should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. When you gaze long into the abyss also gazes into you. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies but also to hate his friends. The snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. The surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. Whoever despises himself still respects himself as one who despises. It is not a lack of love, but a lack of friendship that makes unhappy marriages. All things are subject to interpretation. He who cannot obey himself will be commanded. The future influences the present just as much as the past. Convictions are more dangerous enemies of truth than lies. There are no facts, only interpretations. One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star. What does your conscience say? You must become who you are. Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Is man merely a mistake of God's? Or God merely a mistake of man? Hope in reality is the worst of all evils because it prolongs the torments of man. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. Whoever has a strong enough why can bear almost any how. Man is the cruelest animal. Whoever lives for the sake of combating an enemy has an interest in the enemy's staying alive. One ought to hold on to one's heart, for if one lets it go, one soon loses control of the head too. You have your way. I have my way. To forget one's purpose is the commonest form of stupidity. The thought of suicide is a great consolation. By means of it one gets through many a dark night. Art is the proper task of life. What is done out of love always takes place beyond good and evil. The advantage of a bad memory is that one enjoys several times the same good things for the first time. Every deep thinker is more afraid of being understood than of being misunderstood. He who climbs upon the highest mountains laughs at all tragedies, real or imaginary. It is hard enough to remember my opinions, without also remembering my reasons for them. To live is to suffer. There are no eternal facts, as there are no absolute truths. No one lies so boldly as the man who is indignant. The irrationality of a thing is no argument against its existence, rather a condition of it. It is not when truth is dirty, but when it is shallow, that the lover of knowledge is reluctant to step into its waters. In heaven, all the interesting people are missing. There are no beautiful surfaces without a terrible depth. The more abstract the truth you wish to teach, the more you must seduce the senses to it. What is great in man is that he is a bridge and not an end. The higher man rises, the smaller he appears to those who cannot fly. You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. Every profound spirit needs a mask. One repays a teacher badly if one remains only a pupil. There is always some madness in love. Out of chaos comes order. The essence of all beautiful art, all great art, is gratitude. In individuals, insanity is rare. What is done out of love is always beyond good and evil. We have art so that we shall not die of reality. Is man one of God's blunders, or is God one of man's? Hope is the worst of evils because it prolongs the torment. We have art in order not to die of the truth. The irrationality of a thing is no argument against its existence. A casual stroll through the lunatic asylum shows that faith does not prove anything. A thought, even a possibility, can shatter and transform us. Man is the only animal that must be encouraged to live. In the end, one loves one's desires and not what is desired. I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and the impossible. The demand to be loved is the greatest of all arrogant presumptions. He who cannot put his thoughts on ice should not enter into the heat of dispute. The true man wants two things: danger and play. There is more wisdom in your body than in your deepest philosophy. Thoughts are the shadows of our feelings, always darker, emptier, simpler. One must give value to their existence by behaving as if one's very existence were a work of art. In truth, there was only one Christian, and he died on the cross. Many are stubborn in pursuit of the path they have chosen, few in pursuit of the goal. All credibility, all good conscience, all evidence of truth come only from the senses. The higher we soar, the smaller we appear to those who cannot fly. Whoever has a why can bear any how. Every word is a prejudice. We love life, not because we are used to living but because we are used to loving. One should die proudly when it is no longer possible to live proudly. A subject for a great poet would be God's boredom after the seventh day of creation. Convictions are prisons. What does your conscience say? You should become who you are. No price is too high to pay for the privilege of owning yourself. I am not a man, I am dynamite. It is my ambition to say in 10 sentences what others say in a whole book. There is always some madness in love, but there is also always some reason in madness. The most common lie is that which one lies to himself. No one can construct for you the bridge upon which precisely you must cross the stream of life. To forget one's purpose is the commonest form of stupidity. A man's worth is determined by how much truth he can tolerate. When we are tired, we are attacked by ideas we conquered long ago. One must pay dearly for immortality. One has to die several times while still alive. In every real man, a child is hidden that wants to play. You must become who you are. It is not the strength, but the duration of great sentiments that makes great men. A sedentary life is the real sin against the Holy Spirit. In loneliness, the lonely one eats himself. Love is blind. Friendship closes its eyes. We often refuse to accept an idea merely because the tone of voice in which it has been expressed is unsympathetic to us. Sometimes it is harder to accede to a thing than to see through it. The Overman is the meaning of the earth. It is not their love, but the lack of it, that makes unhappy marriages. Only the day after tomorrow belongs to me. All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking. One loves ultimately one's desires, not the thing desired. The best weapon against an enemy is another enemy. One must be a sea, to receive a polluted stream without becoming impure. All things are subject to interpretation. Whichever interpretation prevails at a given time is a function of power and not truth. He who would learn to fly one day must first learn to stand and walk and run and climb and dance. Without forgetting, it is quite impossible to live at all. To use the same words is not a sufficient guarantee of understanding.